Hello grade 9 students, welcome back. Our topic for today is about graphing quadratic functions and analyzing the effects on its graph. Before we start, a friendly reminders, don't forget your pen and paper for your solutions later on, and do not hesitate to pause and play this video when a need arises. So you can even go back to the portion of this video that you want to revisit to attain mastery. For this video, I will show you how to answer learning task 1 and 2. Okay, sa learning task 1 in your module, you need to complete this table using the given graph. Okay, here's an example. Okay, so our task is to complete the table using this graph. Okay, first let's answer the domain. Domain is the set of all possible x values. Meaning, dito yan banda sa x-axis natin. So, pwede tayong magkaroon ng positive and negative na x value. So, therefore, based on the given graph, domain is the set of all real numbers. At sa quadratic function, pag sinabi nating domain, ito palagi ang ilalagay ninyo. Set of all real numbers. Okay, next. Before answering the range, let us answer first the opening of the parabola and the vertex. Because from them, we can easily answer the range. Okay? The graph of a quadratic function has two different kinds, a parabola that opens upward and a parabola that opens downward. In this example, as you can see, our parabola opens upward. Next, let's answer the vertex. Vertex is the turning point of the parabola. So, if this is our parabola, okay, the turning point, ibig sabihin kung saan lumiko yung parabola, yun yung vertex natin, which is either the lowest and the highest point of the graph. So, in this example, the vertex is the lowest point of the graph, and that is point HK, which is 0 and negative 5. So, the vertex is 0 and negative 5. Okay, now, let's answer now the range. Range, these are the possible values of y. So, dito naman tayo titingin sa bandang y-axis. Our range is the set of all y values such that y greater than or equal. So, saan tayo nag-base? Bakit greater than or equal ang ating nilagay dito? Nag-base tayo dito sa opening ng parabola. If the opening of the parabola is upward, we will use greater than or equal. Pero kapag ang opening ng parabola natin is downward, we will use less than or equal. Okay? And then, negative 5. So, where did we get this negative 5? This is the value of k dito sa vertex natin. So, negative 5, ito yung value ng k natin sa vertex. So, ibig sabihin dito sa range natin, sa graph na ito, ay ito yung mga possible y values na mas malaki o equal sa negative 5. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung boundary niya. From negative 5 up, so yun lang yung range ng graph na ito. Hindi na siya bababa ng negative 5. Next is the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is a vertical line or x is equals to h and also divides the parabola into two equal parts. So, to divide this parabola into two equal parts, so we have to draw a vertical line like this. Okay, so our axis of symmetry is h is equals to x. So, x, our h, ano yung h natin? So, anong h natin dito? That is 0. So, therefore, our axis of symmetry is x is equal to 0. Okay, next, let's have the x-intercept. X-intercept is the point where a parabola passes through the x-axis. So, ito ang x-axis natin. Ano-ano ang mga points na dinaanan ng parabola dito sa x-axis natin. Okay, so ito yung mga points na negative 4 at saka positive 4. And to answer the x-intercept, we will let y is equal to 0. So, ibig sabihin, sa x-intercept natin, ang y natin is 0 lagi. So, since na-identify na natin dito yung mga points na kung saan nag-pass through yung parabola natin, which is negative 4 and positive 4, so, eto ngayon ang magiging x-intercept natin. Negative 4, and then 0, kasi yun yung y natin, and then positive 4, and also 0. Next, let's have the y-intercept. Y-intercept is the point where a parabola passes through the y-axis. So, ano-ano naman ang mga points na nadaanan ng parabola dito sa y-axis? And that is point negative 5. So, to answer the y-intercept, we will let x naman. So, kung kanina sa x-intercept ay y is equal 0, dito naman sa y-intercept, ang x natin ay 0. And since yung point na dinaanan ng parabola dito sa y-axis is negative 5, so our y-intercept is 0 and negative 5. 0 because yun yung x natin and yung y natin is negative 5. Okay, so that's how you will answer learning task number 1. Next, let's proceed to learning task number 2. Sketch the graph of the following. Give the domain and range of the following quadratic function defined by the given equation. Determine the direction where the parabola opens, its vertex, its axis of symmetry, and its x and y intercepts. So to answer learning task number 2, I will give two examples of equations and then we will identify its domain, range, the direction where the parabola opens, its vertex, its axis of symmetry, and x and y intercepts. So let's have our first example. Y is equals to x squared minus 2x minus 3. Okay, so let's find first the vertex of this equation. Tapos, mamaya, sagutan naman natin yung iba. There are two different ways to determine the vertex of a quadratic function. One is by using or by transforming this equation into this form or into vertex form. Y is equals to a quantity x minus h squared plus k. And the second one is by using the h and k formula. So, h and k is the vertex formula. Okay, so for this video, I will use the h and k formula. And to solve this, we need to identify the value of a, b, and c in this equation. So, our a is positive 1, b is negative 2, and c is negative 3. Okay, so we will simply substitute the following values to this formula. Okay, let's solve first for the value of h. H is equals to negative b over 2a. So substitute the value of b, so negative quantity or times negative 2, which is the value of b, then 2 times a is 1. Then negative times negative 2 is equals positive 2. Then 2 times positive 1 is positive 2. So 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. H is equal to 1. Next, solve for the value of k. Again, substitute to this formula. So 4 times 1, a is 1, c is negative 3 minus quantity negative 2 for b s squared divided by 4 times 1, which is the value of a. So 4 times 1 times negative 3 is equals to negative 12 minus bring down. Then negative 2 squared is 4. 4 times 1 is 4. Then negative 12 minus 4 is equals to negative 16 divided by 4 is equal to negative 4. So h and k is our vertex. Okay, so ilagay na natin dito sa table ang ating vertex 1 and negative 4. H and k. Now, let's answer the domain. As what I have said a while ago, domain is the set of real numbers. Okay, next let's answer the opening of the parabola. What do you think is the opening since we don't have a graph yet? Okay, so to determine the direction where the parabola opens, we have to look the value of a in the given equation. Okay, so because the value of a indicates the opening of the parabola. Since the value of a here is positive 1, okay, so let's see what will be the opening of the parabola. If a is positive, the parabola opens upward. And if a is negative, the parabola opens downward. So in this example, the value of a is positive 1. So therefore, the opening of the parabola is upward. Okay, since meron na tayong vertex at alam na rin natin kung anong opening ng parabola, we can now easily identify its range. Okay, so the range is the set of all y values such that y is greater than or equal because the opening of the parabola is upward, and then negative 4 because the value of k sa vertex natin is negative 4. Okay, next is the axis of symmetry. Axis of symmetry is x is equals to 1. 1 kasi yun naman ang h ng vertex natin. Okay, next, let's find the x-intercept. To find the x-intercept, we will let y is equal to 0 to this equation. So, papalitan natin yung y ng 0. Okay, so we have 0 is equals to x squared minus 2x minus 3. So, as you can see, naging quadratic equation na siya. So, we can solve this using factoring. So, mag-iisip tayo, ano kaya ang possible na factors ng negative 3 na kapag nag-add tayo, negative 2 ang magiging sagot niya. So, the factors are quantity x minus 3 times quantity x plus 1 is equal to 0 because negative 3 times positive 1 is negative 3.
Negative 3 plus positive 1 is equals to negative 2.
And then next, apply the zero product property as we said each factor equal to 0 like this. So x minus 3 is equal to 0, then x plus 1 is equal to 0. And then applying the addition property of equality wherein mag-a-add tayo ng positive 3 both sides of the equation para x na lang ang matira dito sa left side. So negative 3, then plus 3 din sa kabilang side para x na lang ang matira dito sa left side. So, we have x is equals to 0 plus 3 is equal to 3. Next, dito din sa kabila, ganun din ang gagawin natin. Mag-a-add lang tayo ng negative 1 both sides of the equation. So, negative 1 para maging x na lang dito sa left side ng equation. So, 1 minus 1 is 0. So, x na lang natira. So, we have negative 1. So, therefore, the x-intercept is 3 and 0 and negative 1 and 0. So, bakit 3 and 0? Since ang x natin na nakuha ay 3, tapos yung y natin ay 0. So, kapag x-intercept, palagi ang y ay 0. So, yan na yung x-intercept natin. Next, let's find the y-intercept. So, y-intercept naman, we will let x is equal to 0. So, sa y-intercept, ang x natin ay 0. So, this is the equation. Papalitan lang natin lahat ng x ng 0. Okay, so y is equals to 0 squared minus 2 times 0 minus 3. So, any number multiplied by 0 is equal to 0. So, meaning ito, 0 na lahat. Kaya ang natira na lang ay yung constant term natin na negative 3. So, our y-intercept is 0, negative 3. 0 because that is our x. Then, y natin is negative 3. So, that is our y-intercept. Okay, next, let's plot the following points in the Cartesian coordinate plane. So, i-graph na natin yung mga points na nahanap natin. This vertical line is the y-axis and the horizontal line is our x-axis. So, first, let's plot the vertex. So, ito muna. Hanapin natin dito sa Cartesian plane natin ang 1 and negative 4. So, 1 and negative 4, ito yun. 1 yung x, negative 4 yung y. Tapos, next naman yung x-intercept natin. Ito yung 3 and 0. Yung isa ay negative 1 and 0. Tapos, yung y-intercept naman natin na 0 and negative 3. So, ito yung y-intercept natin. Tapos, i-connect lang natin yung mga dot na yan. So, ito yung magiging graph niya. It's a parabola that opens upward. Explain lang natin tong mga nakuha natin based dito sa ating graph. So, domain is the set of all real numbers. So, ito yung part na yun. Tapos, yung range naman natin, dito banda sa y, these are the set of all y values such that y is greater than or equal to negative 4. So, meaning hanggang dito lang siya. From negative 4, yung range natin is from negative 4 lang up. So, yun lang yung mga possible values ng y natin. And the opening of the graph, as you can see, it opens upward and the vertex is 1 and negative 4, wherein it is the turning point of this parabola and our axis of symmetry, wherein it divides the parabola into two equal parts. So, sa x is equals to 1. So, sa 1 siya. And then, yung x-intercept natin, ito yung mga points sa x-axis natin na kung saan ay nadaanan ng parabola natin. And tapos yung y-intercept natin, ito naman yung points bandang y-axis naman natin na nag-pass through yung parabola natin. Okay, so next, let's proceed to our example number 2. Y is equals to negative x squared plus 4x minus 1. So again, kukumpletuhin natin yung table na to. Katulad nung ginawa natin doon sa example number 1 natin. So, unahin muna natin, hanapin yung vertex. So let's use the formula of H and K. And let's identify first the value of A, B, and C to this equation. So A is negative 1, B is positive 4, C is negative 1. So isa-substitute lang natin ang mga to dito sa formula. So unahin na natin yung formula ng H. So H is equals to negative. Yung B natin is positive 4 all over 2 times A, which is negative 1. So negative times positive 4 is negative 4. Then 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. So negative 4 divided by negative 2 is equal to positive 2. Then, for K naman, ganun din, isa-substitute lang natin ang mga ito dito sa formula ng K. So, we have 4 times yung A is negative 1, times yung C is negative 1, minus, then yung B natin is positive 4, then square divided by 4 times A is negative 1. So, 4 times negative 1 times negative 1 is positive 4, then negative bring down, 4 squared is 16, then 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. 4 minus 16 is negative 12 divided by negative 4. The answer is positive 3. So, therefore, H and K or yung vertex natin is positive 2 and positive 3. Okay, next, let's answer the domain. So, again, the domain is the set of all real numbers. So, next, let's answer the opening of the parabola. Since wala tayong graph, magbe-base tayo doon sa value ng A natin. So, kapag ang A natin is positive, yung parabola natin, it opens upward. At kapag yung A naman is negative, it will open downward. So, dito sa equation natin, ang A natin is negative. Kaya, ang opening ng parabola natin is downward. Okay, since meron na tayong opening ng parabola, meron na rin tayong vertex, we can now easily answer the range. So, ang range natin, these are the set of y values such that y is, since downward yan, so we will use less than or equal. Okay, downward, less than or equal. Tapos yung value ng k natin dito sa vertex, which is yung 3, yun ang ilalagay natin. So, ang range natin is y, set of all y values such that y is less than or equal to positive 3. Next, yung axis of symmetry naman natin ay yung x is equals to h, which is yung h natin ay positive 2. Kaya ang axis of symmetry natin is x is equal to 2. So, madali lang sagutan yung part na to. So, dito lang tayo magsusolve naman. Next, let's find the x-intercept. So, to find the x-intercepts, we will let y is equal to 0. So, papalitan natin yung equation na to, yung y na to, ng 0. So, we have 0 is equals to negative x squared plus 4x minus 1. Since mahirap siya gawin sa factoring, kasi wala namang factor ng negative 1 na kapag inad natin ay positive 4 ang sagot, kaya mahirap siya gawin gamit yung factoring method. So, we will use the quadratic formula. So, x is equals to negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac divided by 2a. So, isa-substitute lang natin ulit yung mga value ng a, which is negative 1, yung b is positive 4, and then yung c natin is negative 1 dito sa quadratic formula natin. So, isa-substitute natin. So, we have x is equals to negative, then yung b natin is positive 4 plus or minus the square root of b is 4 squared minus 4. Okay, so negative 4 quantity times negative 1 times negative 1. So, ito yung a at saka c natin na value over 2 times negative 1, which is our a. So, simplify natin. So, negative times positive 4 is negative 4. Then, plus or minus, 4 squared is 16. Then, negative 4 times negative 1 is positive 4. Positive 4 times negative 1 is negative 4. Then, 2 times negative 1 is negative 2. I-simplify lang natin siya. So, hatiin lang natin to kasi positive and negative. So, ibig sabihin, dalawa yung answer natin dyan. So, we have negative 4 plus, yung positive muna, the square root of 16 minus 4 is 12. Then, all over negative 2. And then, yung isa naman is x is equals to negative 4. So, minus naman, minus the square root of 16 minus 4 is 12 divided by 2. So, dito na part na to yung isolve using your calculator. Mas maganda kung gagawin nating decimal to para hindi tayo mahirapan na ilagay sa Cartesian plane once na mag-graph na tayo mamaya.
Kinonvert ko lang siya into decimal using calculator, tapos ni-round off ko lang siya into 1 decimal place.
So, our x-intercept is 0.3, 0.3, tapos 0 yung y, then the other one is 3.7, tapos yung y natin is 0. Okay, next, let's find the y-intercept. So, y-intercept naman, we will let x is equal to 0. So, dito sa equation na to, papalitan lang natin lahat ng x na yan ng 0. So, we have y is equals to 0 squared plus 4 times 0 minus 1. So, okay, so ito ay magiging 0 na, kaya ang matitira na lang ay negative 1. So, y is equals to y is equals to negative 1, therefore, our y-intercept is 0, negative 1. 0 yung x natin, y is negative 1. So, ilagay na natin dito, yan yung y-intercept natin. So, kompleto na yung points natin, pwede na natin siyang ilagay sa Cartesian plane natin. Ika-graph na natin siya. This is the y-axis, the horizontal line is the x-axis. So, una, ipa-plot lang natin or i-allocate lang natin yung vertex 2 and 3. So, positive 2, positive 3. So, andito sa taas. Yan yung vertex natin. Tapos, yung x-intercept natin, 0.3 at saka 0. So, ito ay 0.5. So, it's either na andito ang banda, yung 0.3. Yan. Then, 0. Then, 3.7. So, 1, 2, 3. So, ito yung 3, 3.5. So, it's either nandito banda yung 3.7 naman natin. Okay, estimate lang yan. Then, y-intercept naman natin is 0 and negative 1. So, 0, negative 1. So, here, yan yung y-intercept natin. Okay, so i-connect lang natin yung mga dot na yan. So, ito yung magiging graph niya. So, it's a parabola that opens downward kasi yung A natin is negative, kaya pababa or downward yung opening ng graph niya. Okay, so explain lang natin yung nakuhang result natin dito sa table base dito sa nabuo nating graph dito sa right side. Okay, so domain, these are the set of all real numbers. So, ito yung banda sa x-axis natin. So, range is the set of all y values such that y is less than or equal to positive 3. So, ibig sabihin, ito yung boundary lang natin. Kasama si positive 3, pababa lahat ng value ng y na less than positive 3, including yung positive 3. So, hindi siya lalagpas ng positive 3. Okay? So, yun lang yung range ng equation na yan or ng graph natin. And then, our vertex is the turning point of this parabola. So, yan, dyan siya lumiko. Kaya yan yung vertex natin. Tapos, yung axis of symmetry natin, wherein it divides the parabola into two equal parts. So, sa x is equals to 2 siya nag-fall. So, ayan siya. Then, yung x-intercept naman natin. So, itong mga points na to. Ito yung mga points sa x-axis na kung saan ay dinaanan ng parabola natin. So, ito yung x-intercept. Tapos, yung y-intercept naman, ito yung points na dinaanan ng parabola natin dito banda naman sa y-axis. So, ito siya.